Hello, my name is Jill Fountain and I'm a partner in 38 Partnership alongside Chris Clun. We are a brand management and marketing company and we help companies get to the next level. Now that can be logos, websites, literature, brochures, workshop manuals, what else? Social media, we do a lot of social media for people. Business cards, the sort of confetti that I've sort of found bits and pieces, sort of confetti that you would send out and take to meetings to give out. It can be anything at all. It can be that actually the client has got a product, they are where they are at the moment, they want to get it into high street stores, they want to go to the exhibitions at the Olympia, and we help them to get where they want to be. Now, our background is that Chris ran and co-owned a printing company, and it was just at the point where everything went digital. So he was way into the scene, Fleet Street and Stratford and everything that was going on back then, and went on to the digital marketing. And I started off in paper. I did 12 years in a paper company and learned the trade there. So that's really how we got together. I was in paper, he was in print, and when we did get together we actually did have something to talk about. I went on to run a toy company and did the branding for the suppliers and the products that I was selling, and he was a graphic designer, and then he started off in his own graphic design company with real very high blue chip companies, very high blue chip accounts. And after a few years his company got bought out and he came and joined me, and that's when my company really took off. And we changed it along the way, as you do, every company has peaks and troughs and things, and here we are at 38 Partnership, brand management and marketing. And I feel as if I've been marketing and selling for a long time, and I did work it out. My first job was selling, and I started selling at 14 with my first part-time job, so that's such a long time ago. So I hope that you're going to find these sessions interesting, but please give us some feedback and of anything that you find or that you don't understand, and good luck. Thank you very much. How did we get involved with City of Glasgow College? It was all through LinkedIn. Social media is a wonderful thing, and I comment, and I'm on LinkedIn quite a lot, in actual fact. I do a lot of business. I get a lot of business from LinkedIn. I trust the people that are on LinkedIn and the referrals that I get from and testimonials that I read. And it was one evening that I was reading, scrolling down, looking at something, and an article caught my eye from Derek. He was asking for business owners to help with a project he was doing with the students on the marketing course. And the rest really just fell into place. We messaged each other, had a few phone calls. We decided what we thought you'd like. It was absolutely nothing to do with what you really wanted. So we tweaked what we wanted and came back with a series of just mini videos to discuss how we get our clients. We're going to do a few case studies and teach you a few tricks with some messaging systems. So that's how we're here. Hi, I'm Jill Fountain, 38 Partnership. I'm going to talk to you today about how we entice clients to choose us. It's not easy. It really isn't easy, but you have to do all sorts of things to get a client to pick you out of hundreds and thousands of people that are out there, all asking the same business. So it's really, what have you got that they like that's going to let them choose, make them choose you as opposed to anybody else. Now, what do? I do an awful lot of face-to-face networking. It can be 6:30 in the morning for breakfast, but I do a lot of networking with people around the town. I also network with people on LinkedIn, so by engaging with them and commenting on them, on their posts. I have a Facebook profile, I have a Facebook page and a group. So on all three areas I post. Now my Facebook page is all to do with business and things that will interest them. It may not be anything to do with branding whatsoever, but it's just anything that I think can interest them. On my Facebook group, I tend to put it to hints and tips, opinions, asking for advice. I do a lot on my Facebook group where I'm actually pushing out bits of advice to them so that they will engage with me, or just really to make them feel that I know what I'm doing and be the person that they will ask for help. Now that actually does work. It doesn't sound as if it does, but it does, and it takes a little bit of time, but you do get people contacting you out of the blue from where you just don't know where they got their information from, just asking if you can have a meeting to help, consultation to help them. And that actually starts the ball rolling into an initial one-to-one, which follows with the consultation. And then what we normally do is to take any details down, what they want to achieve, what their goals are, and that gets us in preparation to do a quote, and that's the next stage. Thank you very much. Hello, it's Jill Fountain from 38 Partnership. This morning I'm going to talk about what we do before we have an initial meeting with a client. So what we've done is we've connected with them, they've maybe emailed us, or I've met them at a face-to-face networking group, and they've indicated that they would like an initial consultation. Now before we get to that consultation, that first meeting, we know their name, we know their website address, we've taken their business card, and as much as information as we can off of their business card, we take a look at. Now, we search for their LinkedIn profile. We always go to their LinkedIn profile first, and then we search on Facebook, and then on Twitter. We look at their website. Chris will run some tests on the websites to see how well they're doing, and it will monitor, it gives a score out of 10 on how well the website is set up. If they haven't got a website and they've got Facebook pages and LinkedIn pages, we look at all the profiles, all the bios, and basically look around the web to see what we can find about them. This is the bit that you need to remember about not putting dodgy photos on your profiles. It's hard to get rid of, especially if you know what you're doing. You know, we dig quite deep into looking at what people are doing and seeing what type of customer they are. So by the time we meet them, we actually have quite a solid understanding of what they do. We just need them to tell us. So we've done what we call is a mini brand audit. And it actually is quite good to do, because when you turn up to a meeting, you don't want to look stupid. You want to look as if you've actually done some research on them beforehand. And actually trying to find a photo of them is good, because I have been to people before, meeting in restaurants and car parks and hotels and things, where I don't know who I'm looking for, and you do feel, I have approached complete strangers. And but they always recognize me because my photo is plastered all over the place, so that's good. I don't have to wear something, it's okay. They do recognize me, but it is good to get a good photo on any of your profiles so people can find you easily in a crowded hotel. reception area or somewhere. And that's what we do. We sit, we chat, we find out what they do. It's usually actually me that sits and chats and find out what they do, and it's usually about an hour and a half. And at the end of it, I have an understanding of whether it is just something that they are dreaming of, that it's a far off goal that maybe will take maybe 2 years to get to, or it's a very short banner. I want you to do a banner. I want you to do some confetti, which is the sort of stuff, the leaflets that we send out and give out at at networking groups. When we go to a networking group, we not only take our business cards, but we take the A6 explanation of what we do. It's totally branded up, everything's branded, and people can recognize it. So if for instance, on a table there was 150 bits of information, because of our colouring, people start to recognise the brand, and that's when you know you're gaining some progress, because people can shuffle around and just go, oh, that's Jill, that's 38 Partnership. So it's all to do with consistency. It's to do with doing your research before you get to your first meeting, so that you have a bit of background and a bit of understanding of the type of business the client does and how much of a presence they've got, not only on social media, but around the town, in the papers, in the magazines. Every little bit does help to put forward a picture for us to understand where we're going next. And that's one for today, and I will speak to you another time. Have a good day. Hi, it's Jill Fountain, 38 Partnership. Today we're going to talk to you about case studies. I'm going to do 2. So, how did we get started on the first one? How did I notice the top brand that we have done? It was just by chance, really. I didn't do any research. I just didn't. I went to an exhibition. I saw a product. It was a wagon. It was a red wagon. I loved it. I talked to the people that were there. They didn't really know their prices. They couldn't tell me their delivery dates. They were a little bit unsure about what they were doing. It didn't really come over very well. But I loved the product. And it was before the webs online got really, it was a long time. When I first saw it, it was about 4 years before I actually took it on as a distributor. So over the 4 years, every now and then, I would remember this particular brand and I would try and find it, and I couldn't. And in the end, I tasked Chris to, I don't care where in the world this thing is, I want you to find it. I approached them. Did they really want to go into Europe? They really didn't know whether they did or not. It was a big American brand, but at the time I think it was something like 23% of the market share in the children's toy market in America. Almost completely unknown in this country. So eventually I persuaded them. After I went to the New York Toy Fair, I asked for an appointment and I went to the New York Toy Fair and I talked to one of the CEO and talked about what we were doing, what I wanted to do with this product, and he literally just said, yeah, all right, you know. And I'm not really sure at that point whether he thought we were going to be any good at all. It was really, well, she's made the journey, I'll do it. And they were a great company to work with. They really were. They've been going for decades. They're in all the films. They have a policy that if there's a film, they will put a wagon in. They've got awards for this, that, and the next thing. But they were unknown in this country. So we started off going to first of all, we sold to a couple of people that we knew. We sold to end users. And then eventually we started going to the exhibitions on a very small scale. The first exhibition I went to was in Harrogate, and it was at the point where they used to deck out the car park with carpet. And we were in the dungeons of this car park with the ceilings as low as you could possibly get, and concrete floors, and it was the smallest stand that we could possibly afford, and we made an absolute killing at that show. And the bigger buyers were coming around and laughing at us, saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Why aren't you in the upstairs in the gift section, or the why are you down here?" And we just said, "We don't know what we're doing. It's our first exhibition we've ever done, and we're not used to selling to wholesale. We usually only do retail, so we're learning our trade and keeping our head down at the same time." And they said, "You're not going to manage it. You're gonna do something with this brand, and there are plenty of people that will try and pinch it from you. So right from start, girls, you need to be watching out for your brand. Your brand is what you're doing, and protect yourself." And we took that on board because we were in the toy trade, and you think the toy trade is nice, but actually if you've got a product that people want and you're seen as being maybe a little bit weak, then they will go over your head and approach the company with a much better deal and promises of selling so much. And you've got to have a really good relationship with your manufacturer and your brand owner. So that's what we did, and we grew. We went into the toy shops, we went to the exhibitions, we promoted and marketed this brand to bits. And each time we got higher up the car park and higher into the exhibition halls. We did the smaller exhibitions. We did Harrogate baby shows. We did toy fairs. We ended up one year at Torquay in the pouring rain with the companies. They were bucket and spade companies, they called them. They would walk past us going, "Girls, what are you doing here? You know, you're in the wrong show, love." That's what we were getting. You're in the wrong show. You're wasting your money. You won't get anything out of this show. You know, this is seaside stuff. You're too high end. Seaside stuff. You shouldn't be here. Go to Olympia. We went to Olympia. We went to Earls Court. We went to Excel. We helped at Nuremberg Toy Fair, which is amazing. And we pushed this brand high. We ended up in Bentals. It took us a while to get in Bentals and Phoenix, but we managed it, and they are brilliant to work with. They are absolutely fantastic to work with. And because we were in Bentals and Phoenix, we got into John Lewis, and again, they are absolutely wonderful. We were still seen as very small suppliers. We were marketing to bits. We were seen as very small buyers, even though we were bringing in container after container. You know, we're not Mattel or anything. We were seen as a company that got a really good brand, and we would promote it, but we were quite well known in the marketplace at that point. We did get into Harrods. We loved it. The Harrods are wonderful to work with. But they are very fair to work with. People are really quite scared of them to begin with. If you say you've been in Harrods, people tend to think, "Wow, how did you manage it?" But actually, they're a very fair company to work with. And we did work with Costco. And again, the bigger companies are great to work with. They do look after their suppliers. So we were very lucky, but I was lucky in a sense because I had Chris with me, who graphic design. We would have the newspapers, the local newspapers, be it, okay, the local newspapers, but the editors would phone us up with cancelled late space. "Jill, we've got half a page, we've got a whole page. We'll give it to you at a fraction of the price if you can get the copy to us within the next hour." And because Chris had all the graphic design and marketing skills, we were able to deliver slowly. We delivered every single time. So slowly we were able to gather that sort of presence. And the more we pushed ourselves to deliver the goods on time, the more the editors phoned us, because they knew they would get copy that would sit well with their papers. So I'll tell you a story about Harrods. My daughter was in her early 20s, mid-20s maybe, and she was going up the main escalator in Harrods, and it was Christmas. And she, as you go up the escalator, and she was with about 8 of her friends, all her girlfriends. They'd gone to London for the day. And she's turned round on the escalator and she said, "Oh, I forgot to tell you, Mum's got her toys in Harrods. She's in the toys department. Shall we go and see what they're like? And let's go and see." And the girls go, yes, what is it? And as they got over the top of the escalator, there in a great big 8-foot plasma screen was the artwork of the toys that we'd sent in to Harrods. And she turned around and she went, "It's that." And they could not stop laughing, because it was just an amazing situation to be in. On the way up the escalator, they were saying, "Well, what is it she's got?" And she just turned around and she went, "That's my mum." And those are the sort of stories that you can remember for a long, long time. And it's when marketing really works well. So that's one case study. I'm going to stop, go and get a cup of tea, and I'll come back and do the next one. Thanks very much. Hello, it's Jill Fountain, 38 Partnership. Today we're going to do the second case study. It's a completely different one. It's of a very small company, a one-man band. The lady in question I met at a networking meeting. I met her quite a few times before she actually mentioned to me that she would like some marketing done on her business. She had changed the way she was doing her business, even though she was still very much a professional makeup artist and personal stylist. Her clientele is B2C, brides. She does brides makeup, mother of the bride makeup. Most of our clients actually are business ladies that will go and have their makeup done and their personal styling done, because they are face-to-face and they do presentations, talks, workshops, and they want to look their best. We started very early on, just producing a logo, choosing the colours, the fonts, the look that she wanted to do. She wanted to be smart and clear, but still very much of the makeup, personal styling way. The logo went very easily. It really did just take us about 3/4 of an hour. The 3 of us just sat around the kitchen table in her house, scribbling, getting ideas from her studio and what she did, how long she'd been doing it, her own personality. And from that, we were able to build her website. We're still building her website. In between that, she's changed her mind about the cosmetics that she's using. She's changed her brand. She didn't want to be called a image consultant. She now wants to be called a personal stylist. Image consultant, she said, was a little bit old hat, a little bit traditional, felt was a little bit old-fashioned. She wanted to move with the times. Personal styling is the in name, apparently, with regard to her sector. So what have we done since then? Our website is still in production. We had to be very clear on the sizes of the images we needed. We had to be clear that she couldn't borrow images from the web or from anybody else. She had to either buy licensed stock images where she had full permission to use them, or take her own photos, or get somebody to take her own photos. We have got a preferred photographer, and we work with professional people all the time. However, borrowing somebody else's images is absolutely not on. You can get fined serious money if you do that. So finding those images is quite hard to do, to get the correct ones, but between us we've managed to find the correct ones. But in amongst all of this, she's still carrying on her business, she's still promoting herself. She does a lot of networking. She does a lot of presentations around Hampshire and Berkshire. And she needed the type of business cards and throwaway leaflets. We call it confetti, but literally it's all with the marketing, the consistent marketing. And we designed the confetti, what we call the confetti, which are the A7 leaflets that we all take to our meetings. And again, it's all about being able, if a pile of business cards and literature is thrown on a table, you want to be able to instantly recognize that company. And it's working a treat for her. She's grown not only with her business, but actually we can see the difference in her personality. She's far more confident. The marketing has actually reassured her that she is a proper brand and her company is in place and it's growing. She's got a big presentation in the next couple of weeks, and it's not even that. She's even going, can I design my own Christmas cards? Can I design when I do my workshop, can I have brochures for my workshop? And it all has to be consistent. So it's still a work in progress, but we are really excited because, like I say, it's not only the bits of paper or the card or the leaflets that have gone out, but we've actually seen her grow in confidence. She keeps coming back saying, and I can do this and I can do that. And it can be a little bit, slow down, we need to get everything in place. But she has grown not only her business, but in her confidence as well. So if you get it right, you can really see the difference in what you can achieve and how you can help people. So that's my case study, my second case study. I've got a few more bits to tell you. There's loads that I've missed out and I can go into, but I'm sure Derek and I will have another conversation about how we can move forward on other things. And if he comes up with other things, I'll be adding a little bit more to this as I go. But thank you very much, and I hope you found it interesting. And hopefully I'll catch up with you another time. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello, my name is Jill Fountain and I'm from 38 Partnership. I wanted to talk to you about a couple of messaging systems and Zoom video systems that we use with our clients, and we're using them more and more as we go on. We found that because we interact quite a lot with different parts of the world, we are working on different time zones, and Zoom is working really well. We can have face-to-face Zoom meetings, we can record like we've done here, we can pre-record messages or information that we want to send out. And it's meant that we are able to communicate free, in this instance, throughout the world. Now today I've had a meeting from Tahiti, and I've also got another one later on this evening in New York. And just by using this system, it's at ease. I don't have to worry about the phone lines going, the cost of the bills, etc. So using Zoom, we really do recommend that you can use Skype. There's obviously Facebook audio, there's WhatsApp, phone-in calls. There's all sorts of things these days. It doesn't have to be a phone call. You don't have to get on a train and meet everyone. And this is where we find it really works well, because we are meeting people online, be it online further afield, in actual different sites over the other side of the world, and we are still able to communicate to them on a regular basis, even though we work out our times. And what I have found is with my marketing of my business is I have to work out what time they are. So me posting at my 8 o'clock in the morning will quite often be there 3 o'clock in the morning. So who's going to see it at 3 o'clock in the morning? That's the other thing to take into consideration. If you are on different time zones, think, when are they going to be awake? When are they going to be taking the children all to school? When are they going to be in business meetings? When's their lunchtime, their dinner time, their evenings? When are they going to relax? What would be the optimum time to post your marketing information, your advert out to them, so that you can see that you are getting the response that you want? And you'll be able to tell all of that by the stats. But it's a good idea to think about when they will be available and not when you'll be available. Now, the other system we're going to show you is Slack. You may have noticed behind, we work from home. I gave up talking or shouting at Chris, my partner, many years ago. We've always had separate offices in the house. He used to be in the front of the house and I'm at the back of the house, and I used to be hoarse by the end of the day. He has now got one of the studies upstairs, and we've moved all ourselves around to be able to get the best use out of our time. We found working together is an absolute nightmare. If we are sat in the same room, we cannot work at all. And what we do is we use the Slack system. You can set up your own account. It is free to a certain extent. I think it's something like 10,000 messages. You'd be surprised how quickly that goes. You can upload PDFs to it. You can share information. You invite different people to your group. You can set up different channels. So for instance, with yourselves, you could set up City of Glasgow and your group, your lesson, and you could monitor, you could add all of you individually, but you could also add you as couples or as teams, and you can ask each other questions. You can ask us questions. We'll have a word with Derek about how that might work, but certainly it's with Derek, he could be an invited member and you can ask him questions, but you could also upload files as you wanted to, logos, ideas, anything you want. And it is, again, a brilliant way. And the reason we did this was because I lost my voice on a regular basis. But not only that, we can track everything. It's got an amazing search system where I only have to put in a couple of words and it will go away and find the documentation. It's got a complete record of your conversation. So you can scroll back and say, no, this is actually what we said and what we agreed. And we need to keep, on that path. We veered off a bit. We need to get back onto it. And we use it all the time. In actual fact, the only time we talk to each other is when one of us has messaged, do you want a coffee? Is it lunchtime? Can we just stop now? Or with me, it's, I need you to come downstairs and have a look at this because I need to know that we are going in the right direction with this client. So we do a lot of sharing of information, and I hope that you find it useful as well. And excuse me, those are the two messaging systems that we use the most. We use loads more on a day-to-day basis with clients and everything, but those are the ones that we use between ourselves a lot, and I hope they'll be useful to you. So thank you very much, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Hello, my name is Jill Fountain, 38 Partnership, and I'm going to go through a few things that I don't think I've actually gone into. I think I've missed out a few bits and pieces. Let's see, where do we start? Let's have a look. I wanted to talk to you about the jigsaw puzzle and everything linking up. I always see the different parts of marketing as a jigsaw puzzle with everything joining. So if you can imagine, you've got all your literature, your collateral, your Facebook, all your different platforms, your website, and nothing joins. So you've not added your links into your website, you haven't put your Facebook links onto your website, you haven't checked that all the links work. It's like having everything but separate. Nothing joins. So everything has to join. And also, you know, do check the links afterwards, because we have many clients that come to us, and the first thing we check is that every link works. Obviously, you've got to get your keywords right, you've got to get your content right. It's always worth really researching what you are doing in your sector and using really very good content for your website. It is everything to do with your product, with your services. Every little bit does count. And when a client looks at you, if you've got it slightly wrong, like you've got an error, or you've got things that aren't working, a page says not found, they just lose their trust. And the minute you do that, you've actually lost your client. So what else have we got? We've got the different brochures we were on. When we were heavily promoting on the toy side of things, and the brands, the marketing that we produced there did get us to the front of Christmas brochures. So we were on the front page of and inside of the Harrods Christmas brochure. We were in 2 of their Christmas shop windows. Our products were in there, and we were in their store guide. Now you think how many people there are. Thousands of those little store guides that tell you where everything is on every floor, and our branding, our marketing was actually right next door to the restaurant pages. We were on the John Lewis, one of our products were on the John Lewis front page of their Christmas brochure. We had we just did numerous things. We had an event inside Bentl's Cafe, the restaurant. We had a medieval banquet that we laid on with them. We displayed, we built a display cabinet we actually built a display castle for our fancy dress, and it was all logoed up. And when the buyer went out to his people, we went out to our people. We had sat and drawn it on a scribbled bit of paper in his office of the display cabinet that he wanted, and we all had our own input into how it would work. And we both went away and said, right, we'll go away and get costs. And that cost came back at between £7,000 and £7,200 from each of us. And so we literally just built one. I commandeered Chris, he's very good at handiwork, and he built a castle. We got better at it, but the first castle we put in, they were very pleased with it, but it was a little bit handmade. But by the time we made our second one, we were well in, but not only that, you had to think about the logo, yes, but you had to think about sizing, because it had to go on a pallet to get delivered to them. You couldn't just oversize it. It had to fit in a certain size of the shop floor, and it all had to be logoed and colour coordinated, and it did make a huge impression, and of course it got us more sales. So that's all done part and parcel of marketing. Awards, that was the other thing I was going to say about. You may have heard of Moonpig. Moonpig, the card people. Chris actually designed the software for that. He invented the software that Moonpig used. It's a diluted form of what he designed, but he was asked by a large company if he would go along to them and have a look at their warehouses to look at the amount of print that they were using, but it was wrong before it actually came out, or it was actually delivered, because everything was moving at a rate of knots. And his task was to design a piece of software that would save them this enormous warehousing problem of brochures and literature that they just couldn't use. It took him quite a few months to do, and he came up with it, and he did save them billions of pounds. And what he did, he could have kept it, but he actually released it into the market because it pushed everybody forward, and it meant that, you know, we are much further forward than what we would have been. So every time you see that Moonpig advert, you can think, actually, I know of the guy that actually invented a lot to do with it. And I think that's about us. I really don't know what else to go into at the moment. I can send you some, I've got a whole series on networking, images, little cartoon things that with series about 40 images that you can pick off of if you wanted to do something on networking. I can certainly go into that. But like I say, every single thing you do is to do with your marketing and using those 4 Ps. So thank you very much and good luck.